Welcome. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Simon from W3MCT, and we're going to go over the latest Web3 and crypto news. It's the perfect place to stay updated with the latest news from top sources in blockchain, cryptocurrency, AI tools, and Web3 technology. We have a lot to go over, and I know many of you are super concerned about the Bitcoin price. Currently, we're at 87,186. If you guys want to learn more about the Bitcoin price and some Web3 data, you can go over to Web3 data right here and click on charts, and we have the most current accurate data right now. You can check the main crypto prices. For Bitcoin, we're at 87,171. Ethereum, we're at 2,934, down about 10% in the last 7 days. Solana sitting at 128, down about 7% in the last 7 days. Cardano down 17%. Cardano is not loading up for some reason because no one likes Cardano anymore. Polkadot at $1.90, down, wow, 14% in the last 7 days. Chainlink, $0.89, down about 10% in the last 7 days. All right, Avalanche and Doge at 13, right? So you can say, well, these could be some pretty decent, buying areas, but at the same time, right? Look at this, 50% in 90 days, right? About 25% in the last 90 days. Ethereum holders last 90 days are down 30%. Anyone about Solana, right? 90 days ago, you're down 46%. So I can understand why the market's feeling the way it is right now, okay? Especially anybody new that's coming into market. And if you're new coming to the market, this is a great place to come learn at W3 Learn. You can master blockchain technology with curated learning resources, expert presentation, hands-on workshops. So we have our tips section right here, okay? Start with Bitcoin basics. Secure your wallet first, understanding gas fees, learn smart contract basics, do your own research, and explore layer 2 solutions. If you go and click on Bitcoin basics right here, it's going to bring you to our blog site. And our blog site here, I have a great blog post for anyone that's interested. Super easy to read, right? Beginner friendly terminology. And it goes over how does Bitcoin work. So you can go ahead and read this, and we'll also break this down to a video workshop. Go ahead, take a moment and check this out. It's a really quick read and really give you up-to-date information. Right. After that, well, let's get back to...
What do you think it ultimately lands at? And what do you think the window is right now for it?
Oh, I've been saying this for a long time. It's roughly doubled every year for 12 years that we've been doing this. So I think it keeps doing that for at least a few more years. It's still a very low single-digit percentage of global wealth. So I think it could go up to 750,000 in the next 4 or 5 years.
Look at that. Look at that. It's not even accurate, right? Bitcoin price is now 114,000. We're not going to do that, right? We don't need to show anything crazy to you. But what you do need to go over is how Bitcoin works and why it's important for you to check this out, right? Because this is going to give you an easy to read, easy to understand, super basic, right? What you need to know about why this technology is the future and why it's probably to understand at least the basics, right? I don't need you to do 100 hours or whatever. You can read this blog post available at w3mct.com/blog. Go over to www.w3mct.com, right? You go to resources. We have our W3 Learn section where you can master blockchain technology with curated learning resources, expert presentation, and hands-on workshops. So here we have blockchain learning tips, right? So if you click start, learn more under the start with Bitcoin basics, that's going to route you directly to the how does Bitcoin work blog post. And so these are just a few tips you should learn about. We have our developer workshops available here with the support of collaboration of Learn Web3. I am a co-founder of LearnWeb3.io, where we get you ready for the Web3 future, become a Web3 developer today. So Clarity is a programming language for Stacks. Stacks is considered, you can say, like a layer 2 for Bitcoin, some other things. right? But altcoins right now and anything but Bitcoin is really, really tough. If you guys want to check out some videos or webinars, right, you can go over to my YouTube channel, but you can also just come to the webinars and workshop section. I went over the plan for Bitcoin below 100K. I had this out for a little while. You can go ahead and watch this. And we talked about really in the video that, you know, Bitcoin was going to go down to about the 80, 85. Let me see if I kind of just, here we go. This was,
you know, if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, all right? Hey,
this was the downside, right? The drift to 90 to 95K with the tail risk to 72K if forced selling accelerates, right? So this came out a while ago. I was kind of giving people a heads up on the downside and a potential rebound if we did continue to see continuation, but we didn't. It did break down and it did continue to go down this downside roadmap. We did not hit 72K. However, if the forced selling accelerates, right, and the continuation of ETF outflows and tighter liquidity with equity weakness, there's a high likelihood, right, that we can see Bitcoin go into the 70s. But that is, like I said, a probability. We don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin currently right now. If I go ahead and take a look at the current price, let's go see the current price of Bitcoin. Let's do a quick refresh, right? So we're at 87,811. In the last 7 days, we're down 6.85%. 30 days, right, down 7%. You know, it should be more than 7%, but okay, yeah, no, yeah, down 7% in the last 30 days, and the last 90 days, right, down 25%. However, that being said, we have not gone below our previous low, right, of 82,000. This was back in November 21st of 2025. We did not go below 82 just recently. If I want to go into more details, we can go check right now. Okay, so this is what we're looking at here. Okay, so the major low was at 80,537. However, we did wick up and close at 85,060. Now, according to my opinionated, let me go ahead and remove this. According to my opinionated outcome, right? So essentially, we should see, you know, I'm thinking around the March 15th, 2026 area, right? We see Bitcoin trying to break out of the 98, right, of this consolidation zone, right? We'll see this probably go up and down, but I'm seeing the breakout around this March area, March 15th or so, really to try to break above previous resistance. If we continue down this trend line, on this new trend line that just created off of just these two recent lows, right? That'll put us at potentially of a breakout at around July 6th. I know you probably don't want to hear that, right, in that time frame. Now, we do have this cross right here, and this cross really represented that if Bitcoin can do what it's done before off of its previous low, so for example, right, the last previous low, we've seen Bitcoin really do an insane move, okay? And so that insane move was really to this peak. Okay, we saw 63% in about 128 days or so, and really just push. Okay, so if we were to say that the bottom of this really, you know, gets to let's see, about the 75 or 72 area, okay, like people are, you know, talking about, okay, so that still puts us to around May area of a 60 something percent run, all right, in about 128 days, if that is the bottom. All right, however, if that's not the bottom, okay, and Bitcoin happens to find its a support here right now at 85. All right, so really this is what I'm looking for the next trade. Okay, so we're seeing Bitcoin potentially reach 134,278, and then that will put us at the time frame of around April 24th, 26th. If Bitcoin does happen to do a similar move like this around 60 or 60 some percent and roughly 120 days or so. Now, these are the two reversal rebounds, okay, zones. These are not accurate. These are just, this is not, a guarantee. I have no idea if this is going to happen or not, but based off of at least previous ways of how Bitcoin has worked, right, well, we can see something of that sort. When does that happen? We don't know. Is this the current bottom right now? I don't know. We still are within the 3 higher lows, which is what I like. However, that can be dangerous. You can see here previously we had a couple higher lows as well. People were getting excited, and that's when we flushed to newer lows, okay? So, and you can say after the big retracement and the big flush, okay, we saw 2 more lows. And this time, this flush here, we didn't see any lows. So everyone's saying we can retest this 74 again, or that 72 level is what I was referring to. And if that is the case, okay, that will put us at a potential run from 72. So let's just say 74, 75 area, right? Previous low. And let's say that happens roughly the end of January or whatever, okay? And then that will put us here really at the May area for the potential retest of highs. Even if that were the case, right, it failed last time, it failed previously before, okay, double bottom, and then it failed again, and we had a nice little bear trend before the reversal and then the breakout. So if that does anything similar, right, this will probably be the first retest, fail, second retest, all right, pull back, and then maybe the breakout run. And that's when we'll see Bitcoin reaching the new levels around September or so next fall, September 2026. That is my analysis on that. I can be completely wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I don't want to wait that long. But to others, that's not that long. So CoreWeave collapse sparks fear of cracks in AI infrastructure boom. What does that mean? Bitcoin miners who pivoted business plans to high performance computing benefited greatly, right? So everyone that was doing Bitcoin mining, they said, hey, we can also use this computational power and this infrastructure for AI as well. However, you can see in the chart, something's going on and there is a nice decline as of late. Something is happening with CoreWeave, something to pay attention to. Bitcoin and Ethereum, yeah, what's happening? Why is it all wobbly? Well, you know what? People can say, well, the US jobs report hitting the highest unemployment rate since 2021. Job market's not doing that great right now. There's a lot of shadow jobs, okay, shadow positions. What is a shadow job? It's basically a company that says that they're hiring for growth and innovation, and they put out all of these fake job announcements, and they don't actually hire anybody. They use AI recruiters to pretend to do interviews, but they don't actually bring on new people, and so it is considered a shadow job. And there are shadow jobs and job announcements being pushed across the marketplace like crazy, and it gives you the hope that there's opportunity and the hope that you could potentially, get a promotion or the job market is not as bad as possible. But when the numbers just came out, all right, we saw a huge increase. We saw an increase in the black community, right, of unemployment going to, I believe, around 8% or 8.3% right now from 7%. So something's going on and it's not looking good. Ethereum, can it hold 3,000? I don't know. It's looking rough, right? So we just saw the price of Ethereum and the recovery is in doubt. I mean, we have Vitalik out there, doing a song and dance on stage, trying to, I guess, bring in some momentum to Ethereum. But as the data shows, it's still tilting bearish. The weak on-chain activity, low futures demand, and aggressive selling by holders, Ethereum price drop to 2,300 is likely. What is the current price of Ethereum right now? Let's just double check. I should just go over to, right? So I said potential. Okay, so that'll put us back over here. All right. Right now, Ethereum is at 2,930. Okay, again, you can go over to w3mcc.com/w3data, right, under the resources tab, and you can get this information available to you, as well as our curated news that we're going over right now. If you want to go over how Bitcoin works, head over to the blog section on the webpage. You can get that information ready so you can be prepared for the Web3 future. Now, this is what blockchain is all about. Brazil is testing their blockchain in state real estate auction to reduce fraud and disputes. Why is that important, right? Because they want to make this more public, more traceable, tamper evident record, okay? This auction process is fantastic, and this is exactly what the blockchain was created for authentication and verification. All right, so this is everything related to tokenization, right? And I say this in air quotes, even though you can't see me, real world assets, right? That's just basically saying, hey, we have a tangible asset that I want to just create a new certificate of authentication for. And we're going to use blockchain technology. And that's what an NFT, right? An NFT that everyone thought like, these NFTs are for memes and artists and all these things, right? It's a non-fungible token, but at the end of the day, it's a certificate of authenticity, and it's a way to verify and prove ownership. Not only prove and verify ownership, but also transfer ownership to someone else. And currently, right now, that process is old and boring, and we want to put it on a blockchain, and Brazil is leading the pack with that. Kudos to Brazil. Fantastic opportunity and way to use this. Now, this is where I wanted to go. Peter Schiff, the most influential, right? This is fantastic because you know what? Hey, a broken clock is right twice in a day. So Peter Schiff, hey, be the gold advocate that you are, the notorious Bitcoin critic. I wouldn't want it any other way, right? Listen, Peter, I love everything that you're doing. And if you were to, happen to just like waver on this, your gold, right? And you changed your mind and you said, forget about this. When gold has been your business, your entire career, I would actually be concerned because Bitcoin and blockchain technology has never been about making people and centralize them into one category, right? This is an open source, peer-to-peer marketplace, global ecosystem where your narrative can be heard, right? Whatever it is that you want to offer the blockchain, use the blockchain to support your narrative for your business, your company, your product, your asset, whatever it may be. That's exactly what this is for. So Peter being Peter, that's great. What I'd like to see is Peter, using this technology even more. And I think he at least is interested in using blockchain to authenticate and verify and tokenize gold bars and some of the gold shares, I guess, that he has in this company. Overheard a conversation with them. He had a great conversation with CZ not too long ago. CZ is the founder of Binance. And so, listen, we have a great opportunity ahead of us. And like I said, a broken clock is definitely right twice a day. So, Peter, enjoy your time in the light. And so we have some other most influential characters here. Go check it out. Jerome Powell is definitely the next one, right? Because he's the Fed chair and he's continuing to have this massive impact on Bitcoin and the wider cryptocurrency markets. How long will that last? Not too long, because your seat will be up to a new person very, very soon. And so as we continue to go through the news sites, there's a lot to go over. Go check it out at www.w3mct.com/news. And so to finish up this thing, I just wanted to say, hey, it's not all doom and gloom, right? There's still innovation, there's still collaboration, there's still integration. And Visa launches a USDC settlement for US banks on the Solana blockchain. Financial institutions starting with Cross River and Lead Bank on Solana. A wider rollout planned for 2026. So it's not dead. It's just slow, it's quiet, and people are building on the back end without being too loud. And I think that's a great idea. I think the speed of all of this was going too fast. And because people forget, right? Technology was always set up and dreamt up by the innovators, the builders, and the engineers. And it wasn't as instantaneous to the consumer, right? Because the way the social media is and the way everyone's doing things, this information gets out so quickly, and sometimes it gets ahead of the builders. And that's never good when the consumers are either on pace or ahead of the builders. So that being said, my name's Simon from W3MCT. I hope you enjoyed this session. I will catch you on the next one. Take care.